Hi, I'm Jordan and welcome to Told by Thread. So today I'm really excited to share with you my spring thread plan. So if you've been following along for a while, you'll have seen all my winter thread plans. I've got a link to the original video up here. Check out my channel for all of the videos of all the garments that I made. I learned a lot during that process, and so I've taken on board some of the really key lessons that I learnt from that process to hopefully implement here with spring. But I have a feeling there's still a lot I'm going to be learning. So what I really liked about doing these plans was having a bit of a theme and a bit of cohesion to the whole process. So this time around I've taken it a little step further and I've created a mood board, and I'm just going to show you some of the pieces that I came across. So I was sort of picking out colours and just like general vibes for spring. And as you can see, there's a bit of a sort of Mediterranean cottage type vibe going on. And some of the keywords that I came up with for this were bright, fresh, and growth, which makes sense for spring. I really like the idea of it being that moment in time where the air is still a little bit fresh and cool at times, and it's just before that real heat of summer. So as well as all of these mood board images, I also was looking at any garments that kind of popped up and piqued my interest. So there was a bit of a theme going on here. Obviously lots of skirts and dresses, but yeah, a lot of green and pink with pops of blue and pops of red as well. I was also drawn to certain patterns. So obviously florals is an obvious one for spring, but even geometric style prints and, you know, traditional blue and white pottery also jumped out at me. So yeah, we've got quite a mix, but there is some common through lines through everything. As you can probably tell, there's a couple of colours that popped out for me, and so I went and picked up some paint swatches to help me bring my ideas together. So I got quite a range, and these helped for when I was looking at some of the fabrics that I already have in my stash. So obviously my favourite greens popped out a lot, as well as some soft pinks and just a little bit of red, as well as my old faithful navy blue. So for colour palette, I'm breaking it down into 3 sections, which is something that Seamwork have done with their sewing planner. So go check that out. My neutral colour is going to be a vivid white. I don't suit an off-white, just washes me out. So the only other neutral that I usually use is a very pale grey. And then usually a good basic for me is navy blue. So that's going to be one of my basics colours. And if you know anything about me by now, you know that I'm not afraid of colour. So going for little pops of red, some soft pinks, a lovely peppermint colour, and my old faithful favourite green, which is almost in between these two. That's a little bit darker. This is also another favourite green, which is probably a bit more of a statement colour pop. So this is the colour palette for my spring thread plans. Yeah, so I wanted to check what was already in my stash before I went looking elsewhere for fabric. So once I'd identified a couple of those, I then started thinking about what sort of garments I actually need or want coming into spring and summer. So I really wanted another pair of pants because I've been living in the laying pants that I made for winter. I also wanted another lightweight maxi dress. So this one that I'm wearing today fits the bill colour-wise with my spring palette, but this fabric is just ever so slightly too heavy for when the weather gets warm. So something super lightweight will be fantastic. Also would like to have another skirt. I originally planned to make another one a while back, and I've had some fabric in mind for that, which I'm going to pull out for this spring. And I'd also like to make some sort of a statement dress for Christmas Day. I also identified that I really need a whole bunch of new tops, but I'm planning to make that just in my own time because I think it's important to have a couple of projects that I just do for myself and I don't have to film everything. If you saw my winter thread plans, there was one that I listed there, which is the silver top by Mood Fabrics, and I'd love to use this remnant gingham cotton that I got from the Selvage Society. That would be great. I've got the square neck top by Friday Patterns that I'd also love to make another one out of with, I don't know, got some lightweight drapey fabrics that are various remnants. Some of them may not be big enough, so I'll have to see what I can pull together, but I think a drapier fabric will look really nice with the square neck top. And then also Sewing Therapy just brought out her new sewing pattern, the rectangle top. There's a couple in there that look fantastic and it looks super easy and quick to make, so I'm going to see what other fabrics I have. Again, I think a drapey fabric will work well. Got a heap of white tencel bedsheet fabric which would actually work perfectly, and I do like to have quite a few white tops in my wardrobe. So yeah, I'll see how I go with that. If I run out of time, I think that will definitely be on the list for my op shopping adventure later on in a couple of weeks. Okay, so this is a little bit cheeky, but only 2 of these other fabrics I'm actually going to be using. These other 2 white ones I'm going to have to mock up for the thumbnail photo. I've actually designed 2 fabric patterns that I still don't have the samples yet. Samples are on the way, but I'm filming this ahead before they arrive, so we're just going to do some magic. So let me talk you through these fabrics and my plans. I hit the record button at all the wrong times for this segment, so here's a voiceover to accompany footage of myself just faffing around, spliced in with actual mood board footage. Oh, and my nephew's forehead before he knocks over the camera. Couldn't resist putting it in. Okay, so my first project, well, one of my first projects, is going to be using this lovely, quite dark green linen that I got quite a while ago on Etsy from someone in Lithuania, I think. I've got about 3 meters of this, which will be more than enough. Originally got this to make second wattle skirt, but I decided to hold on to this for something else, and now I have the right project. So the great thing about this is it's from my stash, so I'm not buying new fabric. So I've been seeing a lot of the drop waist yoke skirts around, quite often with the deep V. It's just not really my style. I actually prefer it the other way around. So I'm going to have a go at drafting that myself. I think despite my confidence being dented these last few weeks with the last few projects, I'm determined to improve my skills and give it another go. So I'll be following a really good tutorial and looking up any other resources I need and just researching as much as I can. Part of that is going to be creating a block or sloper that's just to my measurements. And I think that's going to be a really great investment in any of my sewing projects in future because I can base a lot of things off that. So this is an example that I saw quite a while ago where you've got this drop waist yoke. This has got a elastic waistband, but I want to do a flat one just because I prefer that look. And this is another inspiration piece where you've got an interesting yoke here. I just find that really beautiful and interesting to try. So that fits with the statement almost basic green that I picked for my colour palette for spring. Okay, we'll try that again. Things aren't recording. Okay. So dumb. Okay. So after the lane pants that I made during winter, I got a lot of really great suggestions of what other pants I could make. So thank you so much for all of your comments. So I started looking around and I kept seeing these barrel leg pants that are very popular at the moment. I was intrigued because it's not something I would usually go for. And then I found this on Instagram, and I'll pop the name of the creator there because I can't remember off the top of my head. I should probably mention that I picked the Winnie pants after all of this. The Winnie trousers are by Tilly and the Buttons, and on their website they say that these are a modern barrel leg shape with a high waistline and no fussed elasticated waistband. The Winnie is perfect for beginners and beyond looking for a simple, satisfying sewing project. And of course there's pockets. She was one of the testers and I really was so inspired by this, and when I had a look at all the other testers I was just amazed at all the iterations that they made, and it really goes to show that your testers can really show you different sides to a pattern that you wouldn't necessarily see on the original sample that the designer brings out. So what sold me on this was the flat front rather than the elastic waistband the whole way around, which I've seen on most of the other barrel leg pants. And then this barrel leg is also a little bit more subtle than you see in most of the other designs. So I think that's a good way to dip your toe into the barrel leg world. I thought this was also a really fantastic opportunity to showcase one of my own designs. So I don't have the sample here yet, and so I'll just pop that up on screen now. This is an artwork I did of the iconic Australian bird, the magpie, which in the local Darug language, which is from the Sydney Basin here, one of the names is Wilbung. So that is the name that I'm calling this piece. As you can see, it's using a lot of the colours from my Spring Thread Plans colour palette. So we've got a little bit of pale blue in there, but it is mainly this lovely bright green and a navy instead of black for the magpie. I think the design also picks up on that kind of Mediterranean vibe, even though this has clearly got an Australian twist. So I've decided to get these printed on a cotton twill, and this is the sample from Next State, who I'm using to print. I think this is a great fabric for a pair of pants that should stand up to the wear and tear, so I'm really looking forward to seeing how they turn out. I also like that this has got quite a bright white base, so the colours should really pop. So yeah, I think this will be a really great statement pair of pants. I should really be making some more solid colours, but I just can't go past a great statement illustration or artwork on fabric, and I think this is going to look fantastic. Okay, next up are two dresses, and the first one I'm going to be using this gorgeous fabric that I came across at Draper's Fabrics. So this is some dead stock, and it's viscose. Now if you watched my circle skirt videos, you'll know how traumatized I am by viscose. So why am I doing this to myself again? When I bought this, I did some research, and that was sort of halfway through doing that circle skirt, and so I realized too late what I needed to do, but I'm hoping now that I've done all the research that I'll be able to tackle this and produce a really beautiful dress. So the pattern that I have picked for this gorgeous fabric is the teddy dress, which is also another popular one that has come out from my keeper, who's a New Zealand designer. It kind of picks up on this inspiration pick of just a really nice, simple, lightweight spring-summer dress. What I loved from a lot of the makes that the testers did, and there's quite a few versions to this dress, and the one that I really was drawn to was the square neck hack that some of the testers did. So that's the one I'm planning to do. This one also features that crisscross lacing down the side, which is not something, again, I would go for. I'm trying a lot of new things this spring with my makes, but I do like that these are on the side, and I think it was when I watched the video by Rosary Apparel and I saw her make, and I was like, okay, yeah, I can see, like, this really does suit quite a few different people. So what I love about this fabric is that it totally ties in with my colour theme again for spring, which is that little bit of white and this gorgeous peppermint green, and then the little pops of red, and obviously it's a really sweet ditzy floral for spring. So I got a little haul of things to share with you of how I'm planning to tackle this viscose this time around and what I've learned from my research. First thing is I got a walking foot for my machine, which will be great because this is a tricky fabric, and it will also help me in future when I have things where there's like pattern matching I want to keep together. I've never used one before, so I'm going to have to do a little bit of practice with this. I also got a larger cutting mat for my cutting table. So I originally have an A3 green one, and now I have a very nice pink one, which is A2 size. So that's sort of just enough to mostly cover my cutting table. Everything else is too big. So that should give me a nice surface area to lay out most of my fabric, so I can get hopefully a full piece of the dress pattern on there, because it's a lot of princess scenes, so lots of long pieces. And in furtherance of that, I got a new rotary cutter, which is a little bit smaller than the one that I normally use. And that was a tip that I came across from quilters, where you have more control over the smaller size, and you can do like a rocking motion at the end, so you get like a nice clean cut without like zooming into the rest of your fabric. So I liked the idea of that. I got the Clover Brown this time, and this has been fantastic. I don't know if it's just because it's a new blade, but I don't remember my Fiskars ones ever being as smooth as butter like this one. So very happy. What I like about this is you can change this over and flip it around. So if you're left-handed like I am, you can actually have the blade on the right side, which is such a revelation. Okay, the next thing I got was a little bit tricky to find, and that was, well, not tricky, but there's so many different types that I got very confused, and I still don't know if I've got the right thing. But anyway, I got some stay tape and some basting tape. So originally I was going to get wash away stabilizer. I was going to basically make my own tape and just do like all the edges and all the seams because I was just so paranoid about everything stretching out. But I've since come across a tutorial on Minerva's YouTube, and that was about using a gelatin soak. And that looks amazing and so much easier and cheaper. And yeah, it looks fantastic. So I'll put a link to that below. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to trying that. Just looking at it, looks nice and crisp and a hell of a lot easier to work with. So that sounds good. But in the meantime, the stay tape and the basting tape, this will help with my invisible zipper. Because I haven't really ever done a zipper before, and I'm going to do an invisible one. So I should probably see if I can get some secondhand ones from Reverse Garbage to practice. But anyway, basting tape and a lot of tutorials. The stay tape I'm still going to use on the neckline and around the arms, possibly even the straps, just to help with preventing the fabric stretching out over time with wearing it, not so much when I make it. So that's a permanent one. So that's all the little goodies that I got to go with this project. I'm incredibly nervous about this one, but you just got to give it a go, and that's what I'm going to do. There's been a lot of beginners that have tried this project, so that makes me hopeful, even though probably they're working with cotton, which is a lot easier. But yeah, this gelatin soak has got me very, very hopeful. So I'm looking forward to that, and I'm just going to go very slowly, like my life depends on it. Last but not least is my final dress that I'm planning, and this is going to be more of a statement one for Christmas Day. So my family quite often gets a little bit dressed up for Christmas Day. It's just a nice little tradition we have. And I wanted to make another dress, another maxi, because I just love maxis. That's my comfort zone. And again with just straps, because Christmas here can be incredibly hot. I mean, it's the middle of summer by then anyway, but even on the cooler days, it's still hot. So comfort is key, but also looking cute and fancy. So again, I wanted to use my own design for this one. For my own design, I've picked a floral, and I've done organic, oversized, minimalist type floral. I was quite inspired by this image that I came across. I really like the soft pink and sort of cream and white with the little spots of red. So what I've designed is this floral. It's quite a bit different in some ways. It's very oversized. I may tweak that pale pink in the flowers to more of a white when I get the sample back. Just thinking up against my face, a brighter white usually pops more. So if I end up selling this design, I might offer both options. The pattern that I've chosen for this one is the Cozette dress by Ali's Patterns. Originally, I was looking at her Millie pattern, which is hugely popular right now, which I absolutely adore. I think it's the cutest thing, and I was just this close. And I can't even really tell you why I chose this one over the other, but I think what sold it for me in the end was this square neckline. So there's a bit of a theme going for spring, and I liked these ruffles on the side, and I felt like this might be a little bit easier to do in the lead up to Christmas and at the end of this spring creative period. And I think this print will lend really well to this design, whereas the Millie, I think I'd have to get some solid fabric and bias tape, and I think I'm going to hold off on that one. It's definitely on the cards for me at some point though. So the fabric that I'm choosing to get this printed on is again at Next State, and this is their organic poplin. Again, a really nice bright white base, so the colours will be very clear, which ties in with my bright fresh keywords for this spring. Again, the colours are picking out those soft pinks and the little pops of red. from my colour palette for spring. So the tutorial for this isn't the greatest from what I've seen. I actually struggled to get through to the end of it. So if you've made this dress before, or you know other people that have done a video tutorial or sew along of it, please send it my way. All the resources I can get would be fantastic. But yeah, I'm hoping I can follow that video along as well with the instructions, and possibly as I'm going it'll make more sense. But I'm hopeful we should be okay. If you made it all the way to the end, thank you so much for staying and watching and seeing all my spring thread plans for the rest of this year. I'm really looking forward to sharing it all with you. I think it's going to be some really good fun. If you like these videos, please like and subscribe. It makes a difference. And if you'd love me to keep making these, you might like to consider buying me a coffee at my Ko-fi or Ko-fi website page, link in bio and below. So that's it, and I will see you next week.